A very good morning to my friends from YouTube. Today I'm going to continue the topic on Pegaxy. So today I'm going to talk about tokenomics, about the theory of tokenomics. Now we know Pegaxy has been doing quite well, right? So this PGX, the governance token, it has reached over $1. The top, right? The top is the all-time high is actually more than $1. It crossed the $1 line a few times and then retraced back to 80 cents right now. And the vigorous VIS is even more spectacular. It seems a little bit crazy for the speed on how fast the VIS token is rising right now. Right? So if you look at the 7 days chart, it lies flat on the 0.13 level, and right now is almost doubled. And that was just like a few days ago, right? 4 or 5 days ago. So it looks like the trend is going to continue. Both VIS and PGX continue to do well. New players continue to flow in. So when new players continue to flow in, they will invest in VIS, invest in PGX, and they will buy more Pega, and the Pega price will pump as well, right? So when I enter the game, so one floor Pega is around $700. Now floor Pega is almost $2,000, right? 2,000 USD. So I think I will not be surprised if I see floor Pega becoming $10,000 in 1 or 2 months, right? Even the speed on how fast it's growing. So back to the topic on tokenomics. So can Pegaxy grow? I think the answer is yes, right? It has been growing and it will continue to grow. But can you avoid the pitfall experienced by X infinity, right? So basically, can Pegaxy avoid the mistakes made by X infinity, right? So we need to define the problem, right? So if we define the problem, what really happened in X infinity, right? So the problem is very straightforward. So you have like it's basically overminting of XLP and axis, right? So that is that's the main problem. So you have this this accommodation of new players, right? To accommodate the growth of the game. Basically, there's an oversupply of XRP and axis, right? And it is still happening today. XRP is below 1 cent right now, right? Which is a terrible situation for Axis Infinity. So can Pegaxy avoid it? And what are the long-term solutions that Pegaxy is thinking about? So basically, the news from the Pegaxy official is that they are planning to have stadium, to create stadiums. So what happens is that in the future you will burn your Pega to obtain stadium, right? So what is the utility of stadium? It's not very clear. And the stadium is going to be created in such a way that is similar to Pega and is similar to Axis. The stadium will be infinite supply as well. So what are the long-term solutions? Now, let's say to imagine if I'm the game designer, I'm the developer, what I will do to balance the economy. So I think we don't have to think very hard from to create new ways to balance the economy, because I don't think that the current mindset is actually the most optimal solution. So the current mindset adopted by Axie Infinity as well as Pegaxy, right, is to create new items, which is unlimited supply as well. And this new item, which is created in massive quantity, and to in order to obtain this new item, you need to burn the old items, right? So I don't think that's going to create a lot of confidence, because on one hand, you have created something that is unlimited supplies. So you have an oversupply issue. So you are going to solve this oversupply issue by creating something new, which is also going to be in unlimited supply. And you hope that people will buy into the value of this new product, and in return, they will burn the old products so that they can actually save the value of the old product. So that's that I think it's going to create more problems than solutions. So basically, because you will keep on launching new products, so it's already difficult to balance 2 to 3 items, 2 to 3 token, 2 to 3 items in an economy. So in the end, you're going to balance 5, 6, 7. So basically, you keep having to deal with the problem of oversupply, and it's never going to get an internal solution. So I think we can just actually consider to learn from Bitcoin, right? Learn from Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did this very well. So remember, in the very early days of Bitcoin. So remember, in the early days, right? So yeah, in the early days of Bitcoin, people actually don't trust Bitcoin. So what they do, right? When these big Bitcoin are actually mined, so-called mined, it was very easily mined, right? So some people just choose to actually hold Bitcoin, but actually holding culture come very, very much later, right? Okay, people don't really trust Bitcoin to have value, right? So actually, people don't really trust Bitcoin to have value. So people don't really hold. So people actually sell Bitcoin for mining equipment, right? So actually, mining equipment are hot, right? So it's the whole idea about selling the shovel, right? So the idea is that people don't really trust that Bitcoin is going to be something big, but people know that Bitcoin is hot right now. It's hot right now. So the safe way, the so-called safe way, or the smart way to make money from Bitcoin is to actually sell the Bitcoin and invest into mining equipment. So you will get more Bitcoin and more money. So instead of holding an asset that doesn't create value, so the Bitcoin is something that doesn't create value. And in the very early days, right, since before 2013, 2014, people actually people sell the Bitcoin and buy mining equipment. Buy mining equipment, get more Bitcoin. Get more Bitcoin and sell the Bitcoin. So that was how they were, right? So actually buy Bitcoin. Okay, they actually buy mining equipment. Sell Bitcoin, get the money to buy more mining equipment, right? Which was CPU back then, right? So a few years later, ASIC become dominant, launched by Bitcoin. That was the history. So people don't really trust Bitcoin. So if you trust Bitcoin, right, the easier solution when Bitcoin was below $1, it's just to hold Bitcoin and wait, right? You don't have to deal with all this operational difficulty. It's not easy to mine Bitcoin. You have to worry about maintenance, electricity costs, and all this operation, and you have to manage stuff. It's not so easy. So the reason that people choose the hard way to make money is that they don't trust Bitcoin have value. And so in the event that if one day Bitcoin actually lose value, they already pocketed some money. And the other thing is that they believe that they can actually get more Bitcoin from it, right? Because mining was profitable, mining was easy in the very, very early days. So actually, you can see the gold standard is actually more in the mining equipment rather than Bitcoin. So the reason why I talk about this history is that it's actually very similar to the current situation of these games we are playing right now. This game like Axie Infinity and Peg, right? So if you think of the current situation, so why does Pega have value? Or why do axes have value in axis infinity? Well, why does a Pega why does a Pega have value? So largely at present, largely coming from ending VIS. So, but if you look at it, there's similarity from the early days of Bitcoin. Why do Bitcoin have value? So Bitcoin don't really have value, but you get it for free. You get some money for free, but you actually sell this Bitcoin and invest in mining equipment, and whole on. So it was the ROI mindset, right? So it's the same here. It's all about this what I call this ROI mindset is that you just want to get more VIS, you get more VIS, you get more Pega, you get more Pega, you get more VIS, right? So actually the Pega's value come from this VIS, right? So it was more of like ROI mindset. So it was more like ROI mindset, right? So people didn't really trust Bitcoin have value, and here people don't really trust Pega have value. It's the same issue, right? So you need to keep on invest in some form of earning potential, right? You're looking at ROI. You're looking at ROI. When you talk about ROI, it's like a dividend stocks or fixed income, right? So people don't really trust that Pega has any kind of value. So it's all about selling VIS. So you can either dump the VIS for cash. You can also invest in more Pega. And if one day actually a Pega goes to zero or VIS goes to zero, it doesn't matter because you have pocketed some money. Right? So I think eventually you have to flip it in the sense that people actually there's one day actually people do realize that Bitcoin have value. So hopefully it will be the same for Pega. So people actually believe that Pega have value. The value has to come from Pega. And the reason why Bitcoin can do it is that there are only 20 million Bitcoins in the world. So you can't get any more. So there comes to a point when people suddenly realize that it is not profitable to mine because there are less and less Bitcoin you can get from mining, and you need to invest so much electricity, and the appreciation of Bitcoin due to the natural scarcity actually and this advantage far outweigh the business operation the return you can get from the business operation of mining. And people actually realize that. Right? So nobody today think they can get rich through mining. Right? Okay, maybe you have extremely large economies of scale. Right? You can make like 5 to 10% return. About 5 to 10% return is nothing in the crypto space. Right? So if you want to make money, the first instinct is not to buy massive equipment to do mining. So mining isn't the hot thing in crypto space now. So I think if you want to learn from the Bitcoin experience, if you want to learn from the Bitcoin experience, so the Bitcoin value comes from scarcity. So eventually, to make the economy sustainable, I think you have to limit the number of Pega, right? The number of Pega coming into existence. Maybe you can be you don't have to have a hard cap like 20 million. Maybe you can have an arrangement like every year only. You can do something like inflation targeting, like what the Fed is doing, right? Because like only like 5% more Pega can come into existence, right? So but how do you actually target is 5%? You just adjust the breeding cost, right? And you make it very hard for people to actually breed Pega, and you work and and there's risk in that is that if it's very difficult to breed Pega, the risk is that VRS might no longer have value. But actually, I will argue that the reverse is true. When you make breeding very, very difficult, and when you make breeding very difficult, and people realize that Pega are actually valuable, and when people realize that Pegas are actually valuable, VRS is going to worth more. VRS is going to worth more because we know that Pega are not increasing in supply forever. There's limited number of Pega, and even if VRS is very but even if we have to spend a lot of money to burn VRS to have one more Pega in existence, the VRS will be this cost is well justified because Pega is actually valuable. So today, if I tell you that you can burn VRS to mint Bitcoin, you'll be very happy to burn VRS, and you are very happy to beat up the value of VRS, right? So, but before that can happen, Bitcoin has to have value, and the reason why Bitcoin has value is that it is scarce, right? There are only 20 million of them. So I think in the future we need to have a mechanism where only a very few new Pega can enter the market through breeding, and this is done through increasing the breeding cost. And we also can put a cap on the inflationary pressure of VRS. So we can limit the VRS growth to 10%. To 10% per year. We can put a target on it because we know how many Pega are in existence, and we know by increasing and we also know that only very few new Pega can come into existence. And from there, we can work out the math, right? We can work out the math. What is the correct breeding cost? Well, what's the correct breeding cost? And if let's say we want to target that only 10% more VRS can be created into existence, we can adjust the reward of the Pega. So in the future, actually, Pega should have a very low ROI, low ROI in terms of let's say game earning, right? So because if you look at it, Bitcoin actually earns you nothing, right? But Bitcoin is valuable. So in the long term, we should design our game to be in such a way. Yeah, Pega have value because they're unique NFT. Pega shouldn't have value because they can earn some token, right? Bitcoin don't get value from that, and getting value from that will not sustain the economy well. So the only way for it to become very, very valuable is to have some sort of scarcity for the Pega, right? So in the long term, Pega should have very low ROI, and the reason why you want to own Pega is that there are only, like say, maybe 500,000 Pega in this world. There are only 1 million Pega in this world, and every year they are only increasing like maybe 1%. So you know that you are owning something that is very, very unique because GDP and population growth is more than 1%, right? So you know that these Pega are very unique and they have value, and since they're unique and they have value, they don't need to pay you a very good VRS return to justify it, and because every single Pega is so valuable, and you need to burn so much VRS, you need to burn so much VRS to get a new Pega, and therefore all these factors lead to VRS to have certain value. Because if today if I say that you can burn VRS to obtain new Bitcoin, VRS will more, right? But the first you have to make Pega as scarce as Bitcoin. So then VRS will more, right? So okay, then what about Okay, what about PGX, right? So what are PGX? So what is the PGX role here? So PGX, we know it charges 3% transaction tax, but in the very long term, I think we can shift it to a different dynamic, like maybe maybe it can have value due to breeding, right? So this is actually same as VIS. Remember in axis infinity, when you breed new axes, you need to pay cost in XLP as well as AXS. The XLP is burnt. The AXS is not burnt. They are actually kept in the community treasury. So I think we can just continue with that. So in breeding, you need PGX. So this will give a PGX value. So you know that only like example for 1% of new Pega can come into existence, and for this 1% new Pega that comes into existence, you definitely need to pay the community treasury holders the cost, right? The cost which is PGX. So it is good to sustain value by this way, right? On one hand, PGX right now can help you to earn transaction tax, but I don't think transaction tax is very sustainable in the future, because if let's say it costs 3% to actually buy and sell Pega, people will think about ways to get around it, right? So why do I have to pay so much tax in a centralized exchange? Why don't I just make it a counterparty trade, right? So I can sell to my friend. I can sell to my friend by transferring my PGX to his account, and there are many ways you can get around the 3% tax, right? So eventually the tax has to be, for the tax to be viable, it has to be a lot lower than 3%. So I think that the PGX tax eventually in the very long term, transaction tax will be lower. So this will affect PGX value, because we know that PGX value is PGX value comes from the assets in the community treasury. So this is the same for X infinity. So in the long term, transaction tax has to be lower. Right now, 3% is no problem. In the long term, transaction tax has to be lower, and the PGX value has to come from breeding. The reason why PGX value can sustain is because each individual Pega has a lot of value. So I think that is the direction that the Pegaxy official can consider. Is really to learn from Bitcoin, because you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's all for today. Have a good day.